Just the other day in the New Haven paper, there was a sad story about a fellow who went over to Iraq and was killed within the first few minutes of going on his first patrol. And then they interviewed his father, and he said, well, I was against the war, but I think we have to support the troops. We can't bring them home now. Now, you're a Navy petty officer. What are some of the people saying who are on active duty about this war?
Well, the colleagues I work with, my colleagues, my comrades in arms, politically, socially, personally, many of them are not supportive of this war, especially in the enlisted ranks. They're not supportive of it because, number one, they don't understand it. They don't know what the actual reasons are for the war. And thirdly, it's a war that has killed too many people and also will separate them from their families and put them in harm's way. So they're not supportive from a personal standpoint. However, because many of them do have families and they are married, husbands and wives, mothers and fathers, then they do feel an economic reason to go ahead and get it over with and get back home to their families safely.
Now, you started an action called the Appeal for Redress. Could you explain what that is?
The Appeal for Redress is a pretty basic appeal. It's one that we crafted to ensure that people can get involved with it, do so in an anonymous way, and still be able to serve actively in the ranks and support their families. But it's based on the Military Whistleblower Protection Act, which pretty much says that any and all active duty members of the military, without prior command approval and without any reprisals for having done so, can communicate with a member of Congress on any issue. And so what the appeal does is give that active duty member of the military an opportunity to tell their congresswoman that I want all bases and all troops withdrawn from Iraq, and I want soldiers brought home now, I want them brought home taken care of when they get here. And that's basically the statement.
And how many people have signed on to this now?
As of today, it was 1,277, overwhelmingly enlisted members of the military and overwhelmingly coming from those lower enlisted ranks, the E4 and the E5s, with a pretty decent number of officers as well, spanning all the ranks of the military, with 60% of them having at least served one tour of duty in Iraq.
Now, on some of the talk radio conservative commentators, when they talk about protest movements, they say, "Well, this is going to demoralize the troops. You're letting down our troops over there." How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't see this as demoralizing. I don't think any of those appeal signers see it as demoralizing, which is also indicative of a larger number of people within the ranks who oppose this war. If anything, it does provide morale. Mark Dearden, who's a lieutenant commander of the United States Navy out in California, who signed on to the appeal, stated just that in Nation magazine, where he said that, his conscience, he had been grappling with his conscience for months in terms of this war, having served two tours over there. And so he said what the appeal gave him a chance to do was get some sense of closure about what he had contributed to, what he felt was an unjust war, one that was just decimating, destroying the Iraqi people and their socialization, their economy over there. So he felt he had some sense of closure. And I think that's what the appeal does. It gives you some bare essential sense of saying that I did speak my voice, I spoke my mind, I told the government what I thought. Now it's their obligation now to act.